Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday night's Mauls, Balls and All, the breakdown, live on the Mauls, Balls and All YouTube channel and Ruckus .ie on Facebook, and of course the Irish Rugby Banter Group. Tonight
Don't
we
forget
have,
Spotify. Don't
Ah.
forget Spotify.
and fair play, Matt, to get us on Spotify. It was about time you actually did something for us in the group. Had to get that in there, man. Tonight we're joined, of course, by Matt Boland, which I just introduced, Richard Holland, and of course, some of you might know Scarrow Two-Tone in the group, or as we sometimes call him, Bishop Len Brennan. Let's, I suppose, we'll dig straight into it anyway. Len, I'll come to you first anyway. Edinburgh versus Ulster, 47-17 Edinburgh.
Thanks
What
a
do you
million,
think?
Danny. I just told you didn't watch the fucking match.
That's not fucking it, man.
What?
Let's just give us tell us what you saw,
Just
man.
hang me out to dry there, fucking straight off the bat. I got first 20 minutes of it because obviously the Munster game was starting. I saw Darcy Graham's try, and caught the highlights, and I saw the final score was flicking over. Hammering, absolute hammering for Ulster. For what I saw in the highlights, as we were just talking there earlier, defence was absolutely shite. Kind of thought as much. I did think Edinburgh they had a lot, they had something to play for. So there's not a lot you can say about it. Hopefully next season will be a better season for them.
Yeah.
Pour into this one.
Yeah, because even Gregor Galway, a well-known Ulster supporter in the group, has said as well, geez, our season didn't go well. Rebuild next season.
Yeah.
Major rebuild.
Yeah, and of course, I just want to say an evening to Bev and Marie Burke and Alan Dorman as well anyway. Richard, did you see any of the Edinburgh Ulster game?
I seen the highlights of it, or lowlights, if you want to call it that, because every try that Leinster or that Ulster leaked, the defence just disappeared. There was at one stage they may as well just stood to one side and let him off. It was absolutely atrocious. There's a major job ahead of Richie Murphy next year. I actually don't know how he's going to do it. There has to be a clean out of dead weight there, definitely. The defence has to improve. Their attack, it was all right in fits and spurts throughout the season, to be fair, but their defence is a major issue, and that needs to be sorted.
Yeah. Let's see. Gregor as well wanted to know if we can skip over the game. Unfortunately, we can't because we usually cover any Irish-related games here.
I don't blame him, though.
Yeah. Bev Anderson here says, I'm hoping it will be a better season next season, but if it isn't, maybe Richie isn't the right man for the job. He has never been a senior coach, and sometimes it just doesn't work.
Well, the problem with that is how many coaches have they had that haven't worked?
Yeah, that's the problem. So maybe it's a culture problem in Ulster itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
but like in fairness, when he came in, he had a lot of baggage to deal with when he came in. So I really would give him next season. He has made improvements. Rome wasn't built in a day, so we'll see. I wouldn't be throwing the baby out with the bathwater just yet.
Yeah.
Matt, did you see any of the Edinburgh Ulster game?
I did. I saw the majority of it, to be fair. But as the lads have said, it was literally men against boys. That's what it looked like. The Edinburgh, they went out and they were hungry. They were at everything. So their defense was brilliant. Their attacking was brilliant. Even at the breakdowns, they were just all over the fucking place. And it looked like Ulster didn't have an answer to any of the questions Edinburgh were fucking asking them. But like the lads have said, Richie Murphy has done wonders for Ulster in terms of bringing them up from pretty much ground zero, where they were absolutely terrible. Now, they've had some really good performances, maybe half matches, maybe in the first half or a second half, so they can play. And Richie is doing the job at the moment. The thing is, right, we all know how fucking difficult rugby is and playing teams that are really good quality. He needs 2 to 3 seasons max. This kind of crack of taking a fucking coach on for a season or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They need 3 seasons because you have to get to know the players, not on a match day level, training level intensity, but you get to know them on personal levels as well. And build relationships. And like fucking Len said, Rome wasn't built in a day. So he's got all next season. Come out and fucking just go to hell for leather with them and do the best he can. They have got some quality players there. We've all seen what they can do in 40 minutes when they have their purple patches. You know, it's just about getting that together and going, right, lads, let's have this as a complete performance over 80 minutes or even 60 to 70 minutes. You know, most teams will have that moment in a match where they take their heads out of it and are kind of 10, 15 minutes under the cosh and they're just fucking not doing anything. They got to learn. But this whole thing of being 19 points up at halftime and then coming out and fucking losing a game 22-19, that's got to stop. And I believe it will. You know, but look at Edinburgh. Edinburgh were just fucking incredible. You know,
sorry, Matt, I just looked up one of the stats there. Edinburgh had 15 line breaks in that game.
There you go. And you can see, right, that first Darcy Graham try, right, the ball was kicked from the Ulster player from their half into around a 10-meter line in the Edinburgh half, and they picked it up. And as soon as that Edinburgh, I don't know who it was, he picked up the ball, you could see Darcy Graham. He was inside the 22, and he went full tilt, ran up to the halfway line, got that ball on the halfway line, right on the gain line, and was gone. And he scored a try. And that's the type of quality player fucking Darcy is. And I'm telling you now, he is definitely going to get a call up to that Lions squad. There's no doubt about it. And then later on, he scored another 2 tries. The best part of the play that I saw on the Ulster's part was Jude Postlethwaite's try. That was an incredible individual try and absolutely brilliant. Good. And that's just what Ulster can do when things go right for them. So I think mentality is a big thing for Ulster. So when things are not going their way, they need to somehow get back into a game and get themselves back in, because I think that's where they're lacking. Because Edinburgh, like, no taking it away from them, they just fucking destroyed Ulster. They really did. And they were incredible to watch. And it was painful as an Ulster supporter to watch that.
Well, we haven't said it here before, Matt, that rugby is a confidence game.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And you know yourself, and we spoke about this, like, when something good happens on a rugby pitch, that changes the mentality and it swings the momentum, and that's a massive thing. And confidence as well is a big thing. So, like, I can see that it's there. It's just getting that all-round performance from Richie Murphy and the lads into an 80-minute game rather than half a game. Do you know what I mean?
45.
I think they're in a good spot. Like, you know, they didn't end well. Fair enough. You know, could have been better all season. Fair enough. But at least he's got something to work on. There's a good basis there. There's some really class players there as well. Like, even look at Zach Ward. Like, he's a sevens player, has come in. Hasn't been amazingly well, but he hasn't done much wrong either. You know, and he's transitioning from sevens to 15s, which is hard. You know, like, he's used to playing where there's only 14 people on a pitch, and he's trying to fucking run around and do everything. You see him, like, sometimes he's just out of position, and then other times he's right on it. So, like, I'm telling you, he's going to be big. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But
Here's coming here
on the Richie Murphy thing.
Yeah.
It's
go ahead.
Tis not soccer. You know what I mean? You can't get out the checkbook and we're missing a tight head or we're missing a lock or whatever. Sign a check and draft in what you need. You just can't do that. So it is a case of slowly building, and, you know, maybe working with players that are, you know, 80% of the way there and just need that extra little bit of a nudge. So this whole kind of thing of condemning the manager or head coach after a season is bollocks, to be quite honest with you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Give him a chance.
See that fucking keyboard warrior down there? Fucking rookthis.ie. What a fucking wanker.
Because he's in here, Richie Murphy, blah, blah, blah. He needs the players which he does not have. But the only thing is, he might have the players, but is it the leadership he's missing? That's the question, Matt.
Yeah, look, probably. You know, like, and there isn't that one or two characters there, or maybe a group of senior players that generally kind of run things for
a team.
There's my number one fan now.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, you need that core group of players. Like, having a good captain is one thing, but, like, you can see when Leinster, right, like Caelan Doris, when he captains the team, everything's going well. But as soon as he goes off and there's not that kind of unit of the senior players there to go, right, well, Caelan's gone, so let's knit together and fucking sort this out together. Do you know what I mean? That's what Ulster need, and they really do. Who that player
Actually,
is?
in fairness on that, I think Glasgow and the Glasgow Leinster match, when Pelota went off, that's when the tie changed. Because I think, you know what I mean? There's always, as you say, O'Mahony, okay, thankfully things didn't when the Hearn came in for O'Mahony in the Munster game. But what have they got there seniority-wise, leadership-wise? You have Henderson.
Who's probably on borrowed time at this stage.
He is on borrowed time, and I mean, he's no longer leading by example. That's for sure. To be quite honest with you,
and I totally get that as well. There's Ian Henderson was fucking brilliant for Ireland and for Ulster for many years.
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah,
but it gets to that point, and it's like everybody in a fucking job doing job 20 or 30 odd years. Your just heart isn't in it anymore, and I think that's the case with Ian Henderson. And nobody can blame him for that because he's put his fucking body and his soul and his life on the line for both Ulster and Ireland, But it's just time for somebody else to take on that reins. And I don't know whether it should be like a leadership group or it should be Richie Murphy going, right, you're the guy. This is what I want you to do. I want you to take the team to where it's been, like Ian has done in previous teams.
Who would you pick in the Ulster side?
If I had all the fucking cards and I wouldn't be sitting here talking shite with you lads. I'd be up there fucking coaching them myself.
No, but as a leader in that current team, which of them would you pick?
Right now, I'd go with Isachukwu because he's a good player and I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. And I think he could be the one to lead a team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just the first name that comes to my head. There's a few others there as well that would be of the same pedigree. Do you know what I mean? But I think for what he's shown over the years and the brief kind of performance he's had with Ireland games and the odd time he's gotten a chance, or even down in South Africa when he was down with that Turin squad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me,
this is where the coach comes in and he identifies that on the training ground. Ultimately, he sees who's leading the players. That'd be the first thing I'd be looking at.
But you see, maybe he has a plan for next season. Who fucking knows?
We don't know. That's the thing about it.
Yeah, but sure, hadn't Nick Kimney? He's been captain a few times this season as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been injured an awful lot of the season though.
Yeah,
and he's another guy that could do the job as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because like Bevan was saying there that Henderson has been injured most of the season. I'm surprised he's still playing. To be honest with you.
Listen, I'd say he has one season left, and that's him. He'll retire at the end of next season. I guarantee you.
I honestly thought he'd go this season. To be honest with you.
Yeah. A lot of people did.
Yeah. Let's move on. Richard, Munster 30, Benetton 21.
Oh, my favorite.
It was actually probably the best of the games. I'll be honest with you.
100%, Richard.
Yeah, it was a great game. Look, I think the scoreline kind of flatters the other crowd. I'll be honest with you. Benetton. It was a much better. Munster were a much better team on the night, and they performed. It's probably the best I've seen Casey since he came back from his injury, and he's been sensational since he came back from his injury. He was fucking brilliant. Man of the match and fully deserved it, I think. It was great to see O'Mahony go out on the, that was a big thing for him, I think, to be able to go to the final game and walk away in Cork. And and then when they flashed up the sign, oh, Jesus wept, the mother holding the sign.
Yeah.
That was fucking...
you could just see, Jesus Christ. Who allowed that donkey into that fucking game?
Which one?
Which donkey?
You know which one?
Fucking no. I don't have to say his name, but seriously,
that donkey,
fuck off and stay up there where you're supposed to be doing a job, and don't be coming down annoying fucking rugby players.
I sense a rant coming on. No, look,
they're not wrong.
It was a great. I thought it was a great game. Casey was good. Crowley was good as well. I thought he carried the ball an awful lot to the line. I think he picked up the rib injury. That's why he didn't end up taking the penalties after. No, but look, I was more than delighted. I'm more than happy with it. I was a little bit nervous before the game because of everything that was at stake, but we're there. We're in the last 8, and we're into Europe next season, and that's about as good as our season could have been.
Yeah. Casey's conversion, his first kick of the game. What do you think of that?
It was unusual the way he lined up to it.
Yeah.
He kind of turned away from the ball before he went out. He more or less turned his back on the ball.
Yeah, because I know it was Dave Sheedy. He was in the comments for the match thread, and he said that he couldn't believe the little shit in his own words got that kick.
Sheedy's kind of he's kind of forthright in his comments. So
yeah, he says it how he sees it.
Yeah.
You see the thing, I suppose at times, right? From one
Dave
Sheedy
doesn't like Casey. He hates him.
from one Sheedy to another Sheedy, Mike Sheedy here said Ulster and Connacht, also Leinster, all poor games in round 18. URC Friday night Munster game was great game job done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Len, what are your thoughts on the Munster Benetton game?
How long have you got?
Huh?
We've
favourite
only
topic,
44 minutes left, Len. Yeah, so we've quarter games after this.
Look, like Richard, I was nervous enough prior to the game because we've been hit and miss this season. There's no two ways about it. You know what I mean? Games that we should have really walked, we've struggled and we've lost actually. So It was shit or bust. It was all on the line. And after what Benetton had done to Glasgow the previous week, they were exceptional against Glasgow the previous week. I know fucking Glasgow weren't great. So I knew it would be a tough game and I thought it would be tight. Crowley's try then kind of settled things. I said, okay, we're off here and we're running. But I thought we had a poor first half, lads, to be honest with you. I don't know. Maybe Richard disagree, but I thought we were fucking very flat on the line. Personally, I think we were sort of afraid of throwing it away because like that Benetton team, their attack is fucking dangerous. And they will cut you open, you know what I mean, if you give them the opportunity. So, like, I mean, there was no crash ball. Like, lads were standing fucking flat, absolutely static, receiving the fucking passes. So I think really the mindset was not to give them a lead going in at half time. As it turns out,
Job
we went
failed.
in 4 behind. Well, yeah, look, the second half, obviously what was said in the fucking changing room, and, you know, it was a case where lads, fuck this, we have to go out and win it. And, yeah, they were the better team in the second half by far. Crowley, I'd agree with you, Crowley was actually good. That crossfield kick, Kilgallen, unreal. Then the offload, Abrahams is just a fucking rocket. And there's nobody catching him. Then, as I say, Casey was immense, you know what I mean? I know Dave doesn't like him, but he was. I think he fucking played his heart out.
Yeah.
From the kick, then he had the ball go up and take it, and he got a penalty later on then as well. So yeah, look, job done. We're fucking Champions Cup next year. That's all we can ask for. We'll go down to South Africa. I actually look, Glasgow or fucking South Africa. I would have heard Glasgow if we could have got it, but I'm not fucking worried about going down.
The only thing about it, Len, we've done it before.
We've done it, like, you know, we seem to do fucking well.
You're the only team that has gone down to South Africa and beaten each of the South African teams in South Africa.
So, like,
confidence is there.
Well, look at it this way, lads. I prefer to have to go down to South Africa than sitting on my fucking arse watching fucking Carter or somebody in the last 8. So, you know, we'll take what we get. I'm happy enough with it. Well, at least we have a chance at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peter coming in here saying that Crowley start the summer tour. Sam isn't at the races. I suppose we're going to discuss more on that later on.
I do have a comment on that, actually.
Matt, your thoughts on the Munster Benetton match?
Oh, well, here, look, there's no doubt about it. That was the best game of the weekend because it had everything. It had 2 teams playing for a spot in the quarterfinals, which is also a spot in the Champions Cup next year. You know, you had 2 teams that were going out to win. You had 2 teams that really wanted to win. You had 2 teams capable of winning, and that's the recipe for a fucking great game of rugby, regardless. And as a Leinster fan watching it, it was fucking brilliant. I do think Len was right. In the first half, Munster were a bit cagey, and I think they were just trying to play it safe, you know, and just stay in the game because they knew the threats. Look at Jacob Umaga and fucking your man Rhino Smith.
That's
two
right.
fucking whopper players. And when they linked up and scored that try, that's how dangerous Benetton are. Now, I do believe, you know, had Munster been at form, they probably wouldn't have let that try in. They'd have got that fucking tackle made early on and snaffled out that. And I probably think Benetton were lucky in the scoreline that it reflects kindly on Benetton, because that could have easily been fucking 37. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and like, credit to Munster, like they just came out in the second half and fucking won the game. You know, I don't think I don't have any criticisms of any of the players on the day, because I think they all went out and did a job, and they did it as a team, and they did it as a unit, and it was just great to watch because there was so much on the line for both teams, you know, and it was a bit touch and go at halftime, you know, with Bennett leading going into the second half 14 by 4 points. And I said, like, this is going to come down to the first quarter of the second half. And if Bennett managed to get a try, that could really fucking scupper Munster's chances. But, you know, Munster came out and they just fucking dogged it out, got that first try, and then there was no turning back then, you know. Tacker Abraham's fucking try was...
He's an absolute... Him and Tom Farrell have been absolute revelations this season.
Do you know who, like, I haven't seen him play in a while, and I know he'd been injured. Fucking Kilgallen had a great game. Again, fucking another Connacht player moving with fucking Farrell down to fucking Munster. And I think both of them have been much better for Munster than they ever were for fucking Connacht.
For Connacht, yeah. Actually, in fairness, just players moving there, man. Was it fucking halftime? Barron came on for Scanlon, and look, let's call a spade here. Fucking the line out was far better when Barron was thrown. Like, his timing, he's hitting his fucking marks, and all of a sudden, which we haven't had in a long fucking while, was a decent maul off the line out.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I fucking joked in our own little chat there. Fucking Lee Barron and fucking Michael Min have come on, and they're gonna fucking save Munster's arses. Yeah. And
I said we'll take all the help we can get.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, like, they definitely made a massive difference coming on. And being honest, like, I think that move for both of them has suited them. And I think they're gonna do better for Munster than they've ever done for Leinster, because the competition for Leinster is fucking too intense, where they were never really going to be starting major games. Do you know what I mean? Whereas they go down and they're playing for Munster, and they're playing kind of week in, week out now, and they're getting starting and they're getting on the bench. Whereas weeks they could be not even on the fucking match day 24 squad on, or 23 squad on fucking for Leinster. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a fucking great move for the two boys.
Especially Barron with Sheehan and what you call him.
Yeah, Kelleher.
Hooker, you know, the two Irish hookers. You know, he's third choice.
It's not even. He's probably
even third choice.
He's probably after John McKee as well. Do you know what I mean?
He's not even third choice. He's fourth choice. In all fairness.
Do you know? So look,
I mean? And in fairness, I'll just tell you, like Sheehan is world class, but he has done a phenomenal job since this is Mill now. He has been fucking class, right? And Barron, as you say, is fourth choice, right? I actually really like Mill. I saw more Mill because he started more, right? It was hard to judge, but like, I thought I was very impressed with Barron. That's the first time I've seen him actually, you know, the effect he can have on a game. And no offense to Scannell, but fuck's sake, our line out actually fucking worked, and we had to drive them all off the fucking line out. You know what I mean? We scored a couple tries off it. And
that's
our line out, you're at nothing.
Our line out was our Achilles heel.
Yeah, it is, You're not going to fucking win games without it, Richard.
Now, to be fair, I wouldn't be hanging Scannell out to dry, because
no, I'm not.
He has performed in the past.
Yeah, on the night though,
Richard,
he must have had an off game. Do you know what I mean? That's all I can think. Because generally speaking, he's a good operator, and he's quite on the ball, you know, and quite literally.
He gives 100%. There's no two ways about it. But just on the night, it wasn't working. Like, I mean, we also have Barron there, our Barron there, so with Dermot Barron, but you know, our line has been a fucking a problem, and I don't know, maybe it wasn't solely Lee Barron that made a difference, but whatever it fucking was, it clicked on the fucking night. We hit it, And like at least now we have a third option going down for the quarterfinal in South Africa for the line.
Again, sorry, Richie, go on.
We don't have a dedicated line-out coach in Munster.
Yeah, we know.
And there is part of the problem as well. I'm not saying it's the whole problem again, but
I'm just gonna say when Scannell wasn't performing, right, and then he was taken off and replaced, that's good coaching as well, because it's up to coaches to go, right, well, look, it's not working. Let's take him off. Let's get somebody else on, inject a bit of fucking pace or something into the game, and it can change a game.
Yeah.
And I think that's sometimes Leinster can be guilty of that, where somebody's having an off game, fucking just switch him out. Bring something else in.
You need to be a little bit ruthless.
100%. Let's be honest. A coach can do whatever the fuck he wants to do to win a game. And if that's taken off the likes of Sam Prendergast because he's having a fucking shit game and throwing fucking Ross Byrne on or whoever to replace him, fucking do it. I mean, it's better than. And this is the thing that's annoys me in the past with Ireland. They stick to the same fucking team, time in, time out, same tactics, and you're like, lads, this is not fucking working. Do something fucking else.
What's that saying? It's harder to be dropped off the Ireland team than it is to get into it.
You know
what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
Bullshit.
So, and that's why I like when coaches do shit like that, because they're taking it into their own hands, going, right, Scanlon isn't having a great game. I'm not going to fucking leave him on anymore and make things worse. I'm going to try and fucking do something to win the game. And ultimately it worked,
But in all fairness, lads, what world-class player hasn't had a fucking bad game?
Yeah. Who doesn't have a fucking bad...
It's not the fucking end of the world. Write your shit today. Get off. Fucking leave somebody else in.
I've played games where I've been shit and I've gone off at halftime and said, lads, I'm not going back on. I'm absolutely pants today. Somebody else fucking try. But we all go into work and have shit days in work and go, fuck, I don't want to be here. But you can't substitute anybody in work, unfortunately. You still have to be there. But you know what I mean?
You don't agree with that, Richie?
Not yourself.
No, I'll refer you to the cornflakes comment.
One question I want to put to you now, Len, is: do you think the dodgy part of the Munster season started happening when Graham Rowntree parted ways at Munster, or was that beforehand?
No. Yeah, well, things definitely fucking went downhill fucking fast like shit off a fucking shovel when he fucking left it, in all fairness. You know what I mean? It went fucking tits up. Look, we all know the fucking rumours, and we won't go into them fucking here now, right? But either way, to lose a coach fucking mid-season, it did not fucking help. Was Costello the answer? If he got us a URC, it's all academic now because Clayton McMillan is coming in, and I'm glad he's coming in because I honestly think you need an outside influence. It's even with the same with Leo, and I like Leo in all fairness, but I think it is hard for any coach to manage players that they took to the pitch with. I think there is an element of that. There's always going to be it subconscious, there's always going to be an element of loyalty to a guy that you actually fucking soldiered with.
Yeah.
I think that can be a problem. Look, I'm sure some coaches are very professional and go, look, fuck it, right? We were in the trenches together, but just shit, get off. But I don't know. I think Rowntree was very good for Munster. It was a fucking shock, and things kind of went tits up after that. So look, we finished. We got in the top 8. We have a quarter final, so we'll take that and we'll go from there.
Yeah, Richard, your thoughts on Rowntree and Munster parting ways? When did this? Do you think?
Look, I think it was. There's been, I think the cracks were there even from last season. There was definitely something slightly off. I mean, there was issues with certain players that weren't getting contracts and probably should have been getting contracts, etc. And there was rumours of falling out. So maybe it was just a decision that had to be made. It's unfortunate, and as Len said, he brought great success to Munster. He brought, for want of a better word, he brought the good times back, or at least for a year. And he had a fucking URC. He had them playing a nice brand of rugby too.
Yeah.
You know, they were fast and expansive, and that was nice to see as well.
And they were
Something that
also
Munster-
dogged, Richie. Like they were dogged. That's which we had. We were very fucking soft prior to that.
Yeah,
There was
Yeah.
a bit of fucking bite about us.
but then it's going back to Van Gran and the type of rugby that Van Gran wanted to play.
That
We didn't
fucking
have the
shite.
players. Physically, we didn't have the players to play that. We
No.
weren't big enough.
That's shite fucking rugby anyway, Richard.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
granted, yeah, but we didn't have the players to play that kind of rugby.
No,
Yeah.
Fast, expansive game is what we should have had from day one.
Yeah. Just an evening to Christopher Goff and Joe Shepherd there as well. One thing I see, there's Alan Dorman in here as well saying Scandal was poor against Benetton and Ulster and awful against Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't just against Ulster
Matt,
against
I-
Benetton.
As a Leinster fan now, what would be your opinion on your man leaving mid-season? Just from the outside looking in, so to speak.
Listen, any coach leaving any team, doesn't matter whether what fucking game it is, what sport it is always going to have an effect on the team.
Yeah.
And you could see, as you said, look, the cracks were there from probably a couple of seasons ago with shit that went on and with contracts and all that sort of stuff. And he probably overstayed his welcome then in that sense. But any coach that's going to leave or get turfed out mid-season is disastrous for any fucking team, because not only is the morale gone, then you have a new coach coming in, and how are the teams supposed to bond with a coach that quickly to fucking turn around the season? It's never going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, you got to look at what Roundtree did when he was there. I thought he was a fantastic coach. You know, he won a URC. You know, Leinster have done fuck all in the last few years with the same coach. Do you know what I mean? In terms of silverware and winning things, you know.
You won the Shield.
But you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
Look, complete disaster, you know, and it wouldn't matter whether it was Munster, whether it was Leinster, whether it was fucking anybody, any team, Northampton. If they lost their fucking coach before the final, do you think they're going to win that final? Fucking probably not. Do you know what I mean? So, look, it's disastrous for any team, and it doesn't matter whether it's rugby, football, Gaelic, or anything at all.
You're wrong there. There's one exception to the rule.
Even kids down the road, if they lost their coach mid-season, it'd be fucking disastrous for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's one exception to the rule, though, Matt.
What's that?
Eddie Jones. When he leaves, every team gets fucking better.
100%. That's because he's a cunt.
And you know what to say, man? It takes one to know it.
Well, I'm sure he's definitely not sitting at home going, geez, that Matt Boland, he's a bit of a bollocks, that lad. 100% he's not.
Len, I'll come to you in this one. Connacht versus Zebre Parma. Connacht win that one 22-12. What do you think of the match?
Yep, I thought
First one.
the match, I said beforehand that Connacht would win it by a margin.
Yeah.
A decent margin, I thought. They won it by a margin, okay, but it was fucking helter-skelter, lads. They were composed enough in the first half. Look, I like the way Connacht fucking play. I like the way they play off the cuff. But then they just go fucking here and scare them all over the fucking place. It was the second half was, look, it was another dead fucking rubber. I thought. I'm just trying to fucking gather my thoughts. As I watched so much fucking rugby and fucking hurling, I'm not sure did Jack Crowley score a point and fucking a goal for fucking Cork or Stephen Bennett get a try for fucking Munster. I'm just fucking trying to think. Yeah. Actually, the fucking details are not coming back to me here now at all. But yeah, just in general, look, it was a good win for them. It was another dead rubber. They finished a little slightly up the table. Decent enough, but Parma, it was down in Italy. I'll pass.
One second, there's a comment in here from Peter, and he says, what way do Connacht play then? Shite?
No, they don't play shite. No. I disagree with that now, in all fairness.
Yeah,
Like
they
they play some nice attacking rugby. It's a little bit like Ulster. So it's again, look, Wilkins is gone. they have a caretaker manager, like as Matt just referred to earlier. That doesn't fucking help.
Yeah.
They're without a manager at the moment. Okay, now that's not going to have any bearing on fucking the weekend's game, in all fairness. But it's a game you just need to fucking put it all together. Their attack with their defense, and they're an awful habit of making fucking absolutely fucking diabolical decisions and stupid fucking mistakes.
Especially in defence.
Yeah, especially in the fucking fence. You know what I mean? It's not even switching off, Richard. It's just fucking. Sometimes it's hard to fucking fathom what the fuck they're at, to be quite honest with you. And they could just fucking get a bit more cohesion between their defense, their attack, and just a bit of fucking noose. Not constantly fucking. It's nice to watch when they go fucking hell for leather, fucking just for the fucking try line, but a little bit of they scored a try, and 2 minutes later there's a fucking try at the other end that should have never fucking happened. And it's not just last week's game; it's fucking every game,
Dave Marie saying here as well, I feel sorry for Finn Tracy. The camera guy did him dirty after that hard hit.
What was that? I didn't see that. What was that about?
Yes, I'm not too sure. To be honest, perhaps to jump back again.
Like there's another young fella that's fucking excellent. I mean, there's some fucking great players on the team.
Yeah.
Team Prendergast is
That's
excellent.
right. He got with something else.
It was unreal, wasn't it?
And to be honest, he shouldn't have scored it. Like if you saw like the 3 lads bounced off him,
They did, yeah.
Really bad tackles. But in fairness to Keane, he just fucking nailed it. The shoulder went down, and you could see the way he was going. They weren't going to stop him, and he took it really well and fucking scored it. And it was brilliant. But he got a try in the first half as well.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah. He was the outstanding man for Connacht that weekend.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me
Tracy
of
was excellent as well. I thought Bolton was very good also.
Yeah, he got very good. Yeah. Peter saying here as well, Len, behave. Both Connacht and Ulster are 30-minute teams.
He's got a point.
That's a fair point.
Why is he fucking picking on me?
Because you're new to the show, someone has to be picked on. Another point I want to make as well, lads, is Scott Farley seems to have parted ways with Connacht as well now as their defensive coach. So obviously someone else might be coming in now as well. So maybe that.
Bev Ann's clearing up the Finn Tracy thing. He threw up all over the pitch, and the camera guy showed it straight away.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
Yeah, no one's seen that.
So the camera guy.
Yeah, but just on that, here's a question now. Here's a question for you and Richard and fucking Matt as an outsider. But Clayton McMillan is coming in.
Yeah.
And the lads have been given 2-year contracts. Prendergast and
Leamy.
Yeah.
And Leamy. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't get them, right?
Yeah.
But do you think that's right? Like, should a new coach been given the option to keep them? Maybe he wanted to keep them or not. But like, for me, it personally, and I'm not saying the boy shouldn't be there. He may well go, right, I like fucking cut your jib, lads. We're going to keep you on. Would you come on board? But I think it's tying the fucking new coaches one hand behind his back before he even starts.
As in, should he be allowed to bring his own people?
Yep.
Yeah. I agree with that because I think any coach coming in, they need to have their own people that they trust. Now, if he did decide to say that, look, I keep Prendergast and Leamy there for a while, just for the first season, and then see how they get along. Fair enough.
Continuity, yeah. See how
Is Prendergast going to the director of rugby or something, or is he still going as a
No,
coach?
he's still there.
No, Costello's going to director of rugby, isn't he?
Is that what it is? Yeah. I knew there was a D.O. Orban, but in all right.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. But I need to keep some of those lads on for maybe a year just to get hit the ground running and see what the club is like, and then maybe see from there, because you want to have your own people doing the job you want in ways that you know that you can trust them to do it as well.
Lads.
Yeah, but you can't do that if the lads are on 2-year contracts. And don't get me wrong, because I'm not saying get rid of Leamy, but I think the head coach coming in should have had the choice. And they gave him the contracts, just before the announcement. Which I think
this one could be a bolter now as a line-out coach. O'Mahony.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah. Something to do anyway,
Yeah.
We'll go back to the Connacht game. Richard, your thoughts on the Connacht Zebra game?
Now again, I only seen the highlights of this one, but the one thing that stood out to me, well, two things, was that the Prendergast try was absolutely unbelievable. They were actually liking it on the highlights I've seen. They were liking it to John Alomu running down the wing. He just absolutely flattened anyone that got in his way. And the other one is, again, we'll go back to it, and we've said it, is Connacht's defence. They can play champagne rugby, and then they're just diabolical for 10 minutes after.
Yeah.
You know, it's just no consistency there whatsoever.
It's a recurring theme throughout the season.
Yeah, absolutely, Danny. Yeah,
and the previous season.
And I mean, the league tries. It's a massive issue for them. It's like Ulster. It's a big issue. Their defence is a problem.
Matt, your thoughts on the Connacht Zebra game?
Yeah, well, look, even going back to what Peter said about Munster or Connacht and Ulster being 30-minute teams. Connacht have been that team as well, where they went out and got fucking 20 odd points in the first half, and they did nothing in the second half and lost the game. So as Richie was saying, you know, their defense can be fucking brilliant and their attack can be brilliant, and it could be fucking champagne rugby for 5 or 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden they're leaking in 2 or 3 tries as well on the other end. Like, so there is a bit of that as well, inconsistency with Connacht. Look, Zebra weren't in. They're no great team. They've had a good couple of performances this year. I didn't think they were going to beat Connacht. You know, Connacht stormed out like the first 20 minutes of that game. It was all Connacht. Fucking 2 tries and a 1 conversion or a misconversion or something anyway. But they were like 12-0 up or something. And, you know, it could have been, if they had kept the momentum going, they could have easily ran away with that. But in fairness to Zebra, they got back into the game a little bit. But again, it was like that fucking straight after halftime, the first team to score after halftime, because Zebra had gotten a try and were like 5 points away. If they had come out in the second half and scored first, it could have been touch or go, you know. But Keane Prendergast was immense. Like, he really was absolutely immense. But I can tell you now, right? Bundy Aki, he was fucking invisible.
Again.
And
James has said that so many times.
It seems to me, as soon as he puts on that green jersey of Connacht, he just fucking disappears.
That's 2 games in a row.
It's a complete opposite when he pulls on the Ireland jersey. Yeah. He's just a different beast and an animal altogether. And I don't know what it is. Is it coaching? Is it mentality? Or fucking hell. It's terrible to watch it, you know. And we've mentioned this before, but he was literally invisible in that game. You know, maybe a few carries.
We only said it last week.
Yeah. And James has been so many times between Dean and Lefty. They play great for Ireland, but try to come for some reason.
Clearly his heart is gone, like, you know, 100%. You know what
I mean? Bevan as well here, and she makes a good point in this. I don't get how they could do so well and be top of the table in the Challenge Cup, but at the bottom of the table in URC. It's so inconsistent. Yeah.
That's Connacht's season in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why they're comparable to Ulster, because it was literally carbon copies of each other. You know, they'd have 25, 30 minutes of fucking brilliant rugby and then not do anything for the rest of the game, you know, and end up losing, you know, and games where they should have easily won, like giving away 19-point leads or 22-point leads at halftime it's not good enough at that level. You know?
Yeah, but if you take the boot off when you're, you know, it's very hard to get back up to match speed if you back off when you're 22 points up. You need to be going full board the whole time.
Oh, 100%. And I'm glad you said that, because like when I was playing rugby years ago, like you went in at halftime, the fucking coaches, whether you were winning or losing, the coach's fucking thing was the same. It's fucking 0-0 at halftime, lads. Couldn't win the fucking second half. So like, how can it be different to a pro teams going like you're up by 19 points, lads? You're stepping on their throats. It's now time to fucking strangle them fuckers.
Put on the neck.
Yeah.
Well, like, in fairness, lads, it's almost it's almost a fair reflection of the standards. Connacht and Ulster are 13th and 14th on the table at the end of it, right? And look, let's be honest here. Munster only got into the top 8 by the skin of their teeth. It was down to the fucking last game. Yeah. Now, we all want to fucking see, you know, we want to see fucking Ulster, Connacht and Munster, you know, vying for 6th, 7th, 8th You know, like in a real, you know, in an ideal fucking world, you know, Leinster are a different fucking step up ahead. In fairness, but to see them down at 13th, 14th is shit for fucking Irish rugby. To be quite honest with you, you know,
long term it's bad for it.
Yeah, it really is. It really
what were you
is.
going to say there, Richie?
No, I never took a halftime team talk. I used to go up to have a quick pint in the bar during halftime.
Why aren't the fucking Connacht lads doing that?
Front rows just went up, had a quick pint, and they went back and said, "What's story?" We come to our last game of the weekend, lads. Matt, I'll come to you on this one first. Leinster 13, Glasgow 5. What were you tossing that one?
Pure fucking shite. That's the only way to describe that game. Was pure shite. But I can tell you one thing, right? The only good that came out of that game was the fact that Glasgow were so dogged in what they did on that fucking pitch. It made Leinster fucking win it. And that's something we haven't seen in Leinster in quite a while, because they've gone out to teams like that in Heineken Cup finals, twice against La Rochelle, once against Toulouse, not taking points, not being that fucking team, had a lead at halftime and fucking threw it away. Same against fucking Northampton. They didn't have that fighting dog in them, but they fucking had it at the weekend. And they fucking stuck it out to win. And I'm delighted because they needed that. They need they need to realize that, okay, it's not always champagne rugby, because if you look at, they played Glasgow in the quarterfinal of the fucking Champions Cup and put 62 odd points on them to nil, right? And then you look at that game and it's 13-5. So they win by 8 points. And that just goes to show you that rugby, it doesn't matter who you're playing or what team it is or what happened in previous results, you got to fucking take the game seriously. And the fact that they knew they were in a dogfight, but they came out on the right side, that's a good thing for them. And I think it's going to change their mentality, because they need these games. And these games are always going to happen, but they need to start being able to come out on the right side of them. And that was a really good win, considering the fucking shit that they had to put up with on the pitch.
Now, Johan is in there as well. He said Leo needs to win the URC this season, or he must go surely. The only thing is, Leo is contracted until 2027. So I don't think he's going to be going anywhere at the moment. But no. I was going to ask you, all right, Matt, do you think that sort of match is needed for Leinster to help them win finals? Though, considering the last few games, like you said, do you think that sort of
100%? Because if you look, even go back to the Saints game, right? Yeah. They could have easily won that game, right? But they didn't want the win as much as fucking Saints did. So it was the same at the weekend. Glasgow wanted to win that game because, of course, they're reigning champions. They didn't want to fucking go out in the quarterfinals. They went out to win that fucking game. But
they weren't going to go out though, Matt.
As once they were strangling Leinster, you know, and it was the same. But Leinster fucking ended up coming out on the right side of a dogged game, and that's what they needed. And I think that's gonna do them lots of favors going on, you know. But again, they need to start taking points when they're on offer. You know, it's plain and simple. Yeah. And I don't know how many more times it's going to have to happen, you know. And again, this is the whole fucking. I really hope. I'm just going to jump onto that comment there. I can see Sam Prendergast being called up to the Lions if injury. I really hope he doesn't get called up, because
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will either. But that performance at the weekend, he wasn't fucking great. And being perfectly honest, if I was in charge, if I was coach, I'd have taken him off at halftime. You know.
Yeah.
And again, like, nothing against the lad. He's fucking young. He's learning. He's only starting to ply his trade, and he's only going to get better. And he is going to be a fantastic fly half for Ireland eventually. But he has to learn as well. Do you know what I mean? And you know, these games are good for him, but it's also good for a coach to go, right, you're having a shit game, I'm going to take you off. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to start you the next game. You know, give him something to fucking think about. Give him something to fucking work for. You know, he can go off the pitch and go, right, fucking shit. Coach was shit and fucking annoyed at me, took me off. I got to be better. And then fucking go out, smash training, have a better game, you know. And things like that are going to help him in the long run, you know.
Yeah.
I really don't think he's going to get a Lions call up. I really don't. There's far too many.
Too early.
Yeah, it's it's too early for him for starters. But I think there's other players there that if injuries do happen in the Lions, that other players will go. And it looked like Crowley was suffering with a fucking
rib injury.
Rib injury. So I hope that hasn't ruled him out now for a potential call up, because if a call up does happen, I'd nearly be swinging to Crowley on his last on the last performances for Munster, because he's been really, really good.
Yeah. Richard, your thoughts on the Leinster Glasgow game?
Yeah, look, it was a horrible game to watch. It was just it never got going. It never ignited for whatever reason. On Prendergast, I think a little bit of his problem is he's too slight. He needs to bulk out a bit, and that will come. The boy is 21. You know, so in 2 years he'll be after bulking out a small bit. But there was a couple of the Leinster players look completely devoid of confidence. Prendergast being one of them, to be fair.
Yeah.
He just did not. There was a couple of players just didn't look confident out there. You know, there was even Hugo Keenan was quiet. You know, which was weird. RG Snyman is the quietest game I've seen him play for.
Yeah, right.
He done nothing. He literally done nothing. But look, good teams win. Great teams learn how to win ugly. That's about all you can say.
And that's so true, because and I think that's one of the key things they can take out of that game. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Because, like, imagine they had lost.
That's the thing. Like, now I know they were guaranteed they were home and hose in first place anyway, but that's I don't think that was the point of it. I was expecting them to come out and absolutely hockey Glasgow.
Me and you know.
Yeah.
So look, complete disaster. But look, you know, like, it wouldn't, like, as you said, it wasn't going to change anything, because obviously they were home and hosed. But you know, it was still a fucking tough game, but they needed to win it. Like, do you know what I mean?
No, and I think one of you guys said it. There was a lack of leadership there. With Doris not been there.
I said it, you know, and it's really evident, you know, that I think Caelan has done really well as captain. You know, at the start, I think he was a bit dodgy, you know, in some of the way he was talking to refs or the way he kind of commanded things. But he's learned and he's gotten better over the course of the last couple of seasons. But you know, there's definite leadership lacking on that pitch when he's not there. You know, and it was as clear as day against Saints when he went off, because you could see Jack Cohn, and then he was looking over to the side going, what are we doing? Nearly looking for fucking Razzie Erasmus and his fucking red and green fucking lights, you know?
Yeah. But see, Peter said there about the Pendergast and the size of him, get a few Big Macs into him. That might bulk him up. I mean, that is the proper way of bulking up, I suppose, isn't it? Let's see.
That's just for breakfast, though, right?
Yeah. Starters.
Yeah. Basically, Sam won't get in the Lions Cup. He has zero spatial awareness. He has no Sexton. He's no Sexton. He always behind the dominant pack, but lacks the vision that Sexton had. But maybe it will come in time. But he needs to get a few Big Macs into him. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, but Then I'll come to you on this one.
No. Just to be fair on that, I don't think he lacks spatial awareness. I think sometimes he needs to get his head up more, but he will learn that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think if you come with experience, I suppose.
But don't forget, lads, this lad has been thrown in the fucking deep end totally. Even in the Six Nations, you know, he was fired in the deep end to go, right, you know, Sexton's gone. There you go. We want you to replace Sexton. Nobody can fucking do that, especially not a fucking 22-year-old.
Yeah, and the media didn't fucking help either now, let's be honest.
No, and listen, the media wasn't going to help. You know, as I said back then, I wanted them to do, if Prendergast started one match, Crowley started the next one, and then they came off at half-time and they both got equal, because that would have been better overall. But clearly there was a plan in place to get him fucking test rugby experience and get him up to a certain level. Has it backfired?
Time under his belt, but and then it led to all the division then, and that just fucking made the fucking thing worse. Where you were talking about taking him off at half time when he wasn't doing the job. What happens there is you take him off because there's such a media circus around it. everybody's going to fucking hop on and go, he was
And
shite.
you
He
see,
was out at
and that's
half-time.
the thing, now. And you've made a really good point because the coaches now can't do that.
They can't
You
take
know,
him off. You
they
know,
can't take them
he's
off.
having a
You know,
fucking bad game.
They have
Yeah.
to give him the 50 or the 60 minutes now
Yeah.
because they know if he gets pulled off at halftime, he's going to get fucking shredded on social media, which is not fair.
And Matt, you just
Yeah,
see
but-
Darren West in his giggity with that last time, getting pulled off.
Ah, yeah, for sure. He loves getting pulled off.
He fucking never misses a trick, does he?
Dara, Len, I'll come to you. Your thoughts on the Leinster-Glasgow game?
Again, I thought this would be an absolute hocking of Glasgow. Jesus Christ, I was stunned, really. I mean, what was it, 26 minutes before there was a score?
26 minutes. And then it was there was still no score then until the 57 minute then after that.
57, you know, absolute fucking, it was nuts. Like, I was just watching it going, what the fuck is going on here? You know, the week before, after Northampton lost, they came out and they fucking absolutely annoyed Zebre. Nobody was going to fucking think anything else other than that. But I really did think then, you know, that settled that fucking monkeys off their back, let's go and fucking hammer Glasgow. Again, a dead rubber. It meant nothing to Leinster, but other than keep up the winning habit, to be quite honest with you. That's what I expected. Glasgow, in fairness to them, I think Glasgow played out of their skins because they didn't want to meet us in the quarterfinals, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
No, all right. No, but realistically, yeah, look, Prendergast wasn't bad. I mean, as I said earlier before we came on here, that crossfield kick that was called back because he was off the mark, that was, Jesus Christ, it was spot on. It was absolutely perfect.
It was a super kick.
Super kick. Absolutely fucking Jesus. Top drawer kick. I think on our own group, I actually said it at the time. It was a fantastic kick. But, yeah, Leinster kind of struggled. You mentioned Conan. Conan kind of looked under pressure. It's not often you see him like that. He was kind of at sixes and sevens. I don't know, you were saying he was almost looking to the line, looking for fucking instruction. It was just, they done what they had to do. It was a dogfight. They fought it out. Barrett, as per usual, was just Barrett. Jimmy O'Brien. Again, I thought Jimmy O'Brien was pretty good. What was Jesus Christ, fucking lads, my brain's gone. It was Frawley got the last penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And like we were saying earlier, they took their penalties and it saw them over the line. It does show a doggedness there that when, you know, the free-flowing rugby comes to a halt, you go and do it the hard way, you know, which they haven't had to do much this season, really, have they?
Just go and grind it out.
Yeah, just go and grind it out. Like, in fairness, they're a team that know how to fucking win. They're not sitting at the top of the table through fluky luck. So, yeah, look, it was a very weird game. It was a poor game to watch as well. But, look, it's over and done now. They're top of the table. They're home qualifying, home semi-final. So, we'll see you in the final, lads.
Yeah, it's down there. Lads, I'm just going to get a quick prediction from each of you for the quarterfinals in 2 weeks' time. We'll just focus on the Irish teams anyway. Matt, Leinster versus Scarlets. Who do you think will win that one?
Well, look, I mean, no offense to Scarlets, but they're not really at the races, you know, in terms of, look, stranger things have happened. You know, I'm not going to fucking say Leinster are going to go out and smash them because they probably won't, but I definitely should see them getting the win anyway because they have home advantage. Scarlets, I think Scarlets played themselves into that one of the last spots anyway. You know, they were lucky with a couple of the results that went their way towards the end of the season, you know, and even going down to the Sharks last weekend, I thought they were going to get fucking hammered and they didn't, you know. So you're in knockout stage now. It's fucking do or die. And, you know, if Leinster don't pull out a performance and win, they could be in serious trouble, you know. And but like I said, that game against Glasgow is going to do them massive favours because now they have figured out a win or a way to win when things don't go their way, because we know what they can do when things go their way. They fucking nail teams, you know. Yeah. But when things are put up to them and things get tetchy in a game, they were lacking that last bit of fucking doggedness that we hadn't seen against, say, the Saints in the quarterfinal or the semi-finals there in the Champions Cup. We didn't see it in the last three finals against Toulouse and La Rochelle twice. They were lacking that fucking dogged, where they were in a fucking real scrap and they came out on the wrong side. So I'm hoping that this is going to be good for them going onwards, that if one of these games, whether it's the quarterfinal, the semi-final, or the final, and things aren't going that way, that they can fucking dig deep, and get the win when things are not going their way. And that's what they need to do. But I can tell you now, they also need to fucking take their points when it's on offer, because if they start doing that at this stage, they may as well forget about it.
Yeah. So you go for Leinster win?
Leinster win, yeah. I'd say by 10 to 15 points.
Yeah. Richard, Leinster versus Scarlets. Who do you think will win that one?
Much like Matt said, I'm expecting it'll be a Leinster win, but I hope it's a better game than the last one. I'll be honest with you. But it's knockout rugby. Points are on offer. You take your points. That's a lesson that Leinster should have learned against La Rochelle the first time. If the points are there, take them. Take the points. It's not champagne rugby. Just get over the line and fucking win the game. So I'm going to say Leinster hopefully will win by 7 to 10 points.
Len, your thoughts on who will win the Leinster Scarlets game this time?
Yeah, no, personally, I think Leinster will win it. Scarlets are, I won't say they were lucky to be there. They worked hard to get there, but yeah, it'll be a Leinster win, in my opinion. I slightly disagree with Matt, though. I actually thought Leinster were they were nervous. There was a nervousness to Leinster. I know, like Matt is saying, well, they worked over, they got through that, and they won. But there was a nervousness there that we haven't seen in Leinster all season.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. It's just, I don't know what it is, but I do think they'll get past Scarlets without a doubt.
I think you're right in terms of, like, there's massive pressure on them now to get something, you know, and whereas you look at the last three finals in the Champions Cup, they were so close, you know, and most of them games were a score in it, you know, where they could have easily won by taking a penalty at one point or another. So, like, I think you're right in saying that, and I think it's the pressure, and I think pressure has gotten to them in the past, and, you know, when teams are putting it up to them on the pitch, they're not making the right decisions. And again, it's this whole media presence that are putting the pressure on the players, putting the pressure on the coach, you know, and that's when it's really hard for teams to actually fucking do what they're supposed to do, you know. And I think it's more pressure that's causing it.
Yeah.
Len, I'll come to you on this one first. Munster away to the Sharks. Would you think that one?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Munster. There's always a shocking tournament, but I don't think it'll be that much of a shock. I think we have the Sharks measure, as we were talking earlier. Munster were one of the first teams to go down there and beat every one of them down in South Africa. We're on a slight roll now. I think we can do it, to be honest with you.
Richard? Richard, your thoughts?
Look, we know Munster can go down there and win. They can do it. They can do it, and they can grind out the result. So I'm going to go. I'm expecting a close game, but Munster just to shade it.
Yeah,
and Mike Sheedy, of course, agreeing with you there on that one anyway. Matt, your thoughts on the Sharks Munster game and who will win that one?
Yeah, well, look, I'm going to go with a Munster win as well, because, like we said before, Munster are the only team this season to go down to South Africa and beat all the teams down in South Africa. So I think they have a way of going down, and even when they won the URC 2 years ago, they went down to South Africa and won in South Africa, and nobody expected them to do that. So, like, but you got to remember, lads, 3 out of 4 South African teams are in the fucking quarterfinals, and you can be fucking sure as hell that one of them's going to get through to a semi or not even a final.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
100%.
And actually, there was last year Glasgow went down there and won in South Africa as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they are beatable down there. You know what
And
I mean?
yeah, of course
the year before Munster went down there to win in the final and won.
Yeah,
But that's the thing.
absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely. So they can be beaten.
Yeah.
I really hope Munster do it, but I think they will. I honestly think they will. I think it'll be a really close game, but I think they'll get a narrow win.
Yeah. And look, in fairness, Dublin is not at altitude, so you don't have that to contend with either.
Look, if I was told that my team were going down to South Africa to play, Sharks would be the team I'd want to play.
Yeah, that's the one you're going to pick. Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I suppose we'll call it tonight anyway. We won't be back again until for 2 weeks, because Champions Cup finals on next week and Challenge Cup as well. There's no Irish teams involved, so I suppose Lynn, Richard, Matt, thanks for joining it. Until next time, lads. Take care.
Thanks,
Cheers, Danny.
All right.
See you,
Bye.
See you, Richard.